The ingredients that you will need to make this recipe are 3 cups of flour, half a cup of sugar, a pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of double-acting baking powder, 3/4 of a cup of vegetable shortening, 1/4 of a cup of butter, 2 eggs, 8 to 10 tablespoons, and your choice of filling. Today I will be using strawberry jam for my filling. And to garnish the pastry, you can have 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon.
Hi, today I will be making empanadas with strawberry filling. Empanadas are basically a stuffed pastry or bread that can be either fried or baked, and it can either be sweet or savory. They are usually served as appetizers or finger food, and they originated in Spain, but they were made very big, in very big rounds over there, and then they were cut into individual servings. In Latin America, they are usually served in smaller portions, and they're usually sweet, but they can either be with a meat filling or they can have a sweet filling too. Yeah. The choice of filling is basically up to you, and the ones that I will make, they are sweet, and they will have a strawberry filling. And the reason I chose to make these is because my family eats them a lot, and we usually buy them at a Hispanic bakery, but today I decided to make them myself. And so since strawberry is my favorite filling, that's the one that I'm doing today. The roll of fat in this recipe is the butter and the shortening, and their role is to help form the dough and with the overall flavor of the recipe. A fact about empanadas is that there's a national day for empanadas, and it's April 8th. And even though they're originally from Spain, they are also very common in other countries of Western Europe, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Now I will begin my recipe. So the first step in my recipe is to mix all of the dry ingredients together. And first I'm going to add the flour. And the recipe calls for 3 cups of flour. So I'm going to measure this with these measuring cups. And I will use this to level off so I get the exact amount. Next, it calls for the baking powder. And I need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And it will be the same process. And I will level it off too. And next is the salt, and it just calls for a pinch of salt, so it's hardly any, just enough to have a flavor. I've added the flour, the baking powder, and the salt, and last is the sugar, and it needs half a cup of sugar. So I will do the same thing and use the measuring cups and level it off. Okay, now that I have all these dry ingredients in this bowl, I just need to mix them all together. Next I will add the butter, and it calls for 1/4 of a cup of butter, which is 4 tablespoons. And just so that it's easier to mix together, I'm going to cut it into small pieces. And I can add it to the dry ingredients. Okay, last to add to the ingredients is the vegetable shortening, and I will be needing 3/4 of a cup, so I'm just going to do 3 times 1/4, so I'm just going to do that and level it off. Okay, so that's 1.
and I need to do the same 3 times. Now that I have 3/4 of a cup of the vegetable shortening in there, what I need to do is blend it at a slow speed using an electric mixer. So after blending the ingredients together, the texture of the dry ingredients and the butter and the shortening should be crumbly like this. And then after this, I'm gonna add an egg yolk. So now I'm gonna add the egg yolk to the mixture, and for that I'm gonna break the egg and save the white for later. I'm just going to continue on blending at a slow speed. Okay, so now as you can see, this is very dry, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 8 to 10 tablespoons of cold water, and this is going to make it so that it's firm and not sticky. Okay? So I'm just going to gradually add them, and just by seeing how it's turning out, I'll continue on adding more. I'll start off with 2. So I've added 6 tablespoons of water, and now I'm just going to add 4 more because it's still very dry. And blend it again. Okay, so now I'm done blending it with the mixer, and I'm just going to form it into a ball. And this is going to refrigerate for half an hour to an hour. And then I'm going to take it out and roll it out. But first I'm going to form it into a ball, like this. Okay, so it has been 45 minutes, and I took the dough out of the fridge, and it looks like it's ready. It's hardened, and it's ready to be rolled out, okay? So what I want to do first is I'm going to flour the surface, and then I'm going to roll it out with the rolling pin, okay? And then I also want to get some flour on the rolling pin so that it doesn't stick to the dough. And the dough is not very sticky, but it'll just help, just in case it's a little bit sticky. Okay. And so now I can start rolling it out. I know I'm done rolling it out when it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. So now I finished rolling out the dough, and it's about the thickness that I wanted. I don't want it too thin, but I want it very thin because it will expand in the oven, and I don't want them too thick. I want them too thin. So now what I need is a circular cutter, but since I don't have one,
circular figure, and then since it's not perfect, I'm just going to cut around this. And that's going to be one empanada. So now I'll just repeat. So now I'm going to do a mixture of 1 egg, the egg white from the egg that we used at the beginning, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. And this mixture we will save before we put on the filling, and then after we seal the empanadas. So 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then we can mix this with a fork. So now I place the parchment paper on the tray, and now that I've finished rolling these out, I'm going to place them on the parchment paper, and with the mixture of the egg and the sugar that I made, I'm just going to pour it over the top and just spread it without my fingers. Ideally you would use a brush, but since I don't have a brush, I'm just going to go with my fingers. The point is that to get it all over the dough. So now what I'm going to do is with this with a tablespoon, since these are kind of big, they don't look very big, but they will expand. What I'm going to do is open the strawberry jam. I'm going to open the strawberry jam, and then take about 1 tablespoon. That's about the right amount I should use to make this. And just put it in the middle of the dough. And do the same for the other one. Okay, so now that you put the filling in this, what's next is that you're going to fold it, and then you're going to press the edges so that it's sealed. And if you have ever seen one, you're going to know that around the edges there's like little lines, and that is created by a fork, and that just makes the sealing be more, it just seals it better. And you want to do that to both sides. And then you're going to take the egg and sugar mixture again, and then just put it over the top. Like this. So you're going to repeat the process, and I just added first the filling, then I sealed it with my fingers, and then last with the fork. I'm going to go around the edges, and this is just going to secure the sealing. Plus it looks better, and that's how most empanadas that I've seen, that's how they look. And do that to both sides. Okay, so now that I'm starting to do this, since it's going to take a while, I'm going to want to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. But right now I'm just going to finish this one and then go preheat the oven. Cut. Okay, so right now I'm going to preheat the oven. I'm going to put bake and then to 350 degrees, and it'll start preheating. Okay. Okay, so right now I'm going to preheat the oven. I'm going to put bake and then to 350 degrees, and it'll start preheating. Okay. So as I'm finishing putting in the filling to the empanadas and then folding them, my brother's going to help me roll out the rest of the dough so that we use it all up. Okay? Cut. Right now we just finished coating them with the sugar and egg mixture and sealing them with the forks. Some of them turned out very small, and if you make them this small, with the amount of dough that you made, it could make up to 24. But if you make them like this size, they would make like 12. So now we're gonna put them on the oven for about 25 minutes until they're golden, and they're gonna be at 350 degrees. Yeah. So first I'm gonna put these in the oven. and it's already preheated to 350 degrees. And I'm gonna set the timer for 25 minutes. Okay, so now I just took the empanadas out of the oven. Immediately after I took them out of the oven, I sprinkled sugar on top of them so that they would get even more sweeter. And just in conclusion, empanadas are basically a sweet treat that was originally from Spain, but it really is more known in Latin America nowadays. And in Latin America, it is very common to use it as a sweet treat rather than with meat or anything that's too salty.